What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, I've actually got something that I'm really interested in here today. One of the fundamental facts of this job is that sometimes you've just got to like mash out a title that you're not particularly feeling, it's not really up your alley, but you know that other people will like it, and thus you can actually objectively kind of look at it and be like, okay, well, if you're into that kind of game, then this will be good for you. It's not good for me, so on and so forth. But Vanguard Galaxy is actually targeting a niche that I am frankly shocked that no one's really gone after it in the last 20 years or so. Vanguard Galaxy is seeking to be part open world space RPG, it's also part idle game, but what it is mostly is EVE Offline. This is a game, if you were the type of player in EVE Online that spent all of your time sitting in high sec just doing like repeatable missions and mining and just PvEing inside the safety umbrella of Concord, this game may actually be something that you're looking for. And so today we're going to take a look at Vanguard Galaxy. We're going to have a good time with it. I've got a link for you down below in the description. This game is in early access, so by no means is this title done. But they've got some great ideas. I've seen what their blueprint looks like from what the developers have talked about on Reddit and also on the Steam forums, and I am very stoked to see what the finalized product of this game looks like. I've spent about an hour with it. I do think it's fun, I do think it's enjoyable, and I do think it's the kind of game that I would play. Aside from the link to this game, you can also find a link to a bunch of other Nerd Castle stuff down there, just in case you wanted to give it the old spicy click. But let's go ahead and start off a new game. So at the beginning, we got to name our captain. I don't really care about what his name is going to be, so Sawyer Owens actually sounds like a reasonably real name. Everybody's going to refer to him by his call sign anyways, so we'll call him like, oh, I don't know. We'll call him Yeoman because his name is Sawyer. So that works out right there, and then like Sawmill doesn't make for a good badass combat call sign. And so we've also got to pick a portrait. You may have noticed that the game is utilizing AI assets right now. Before I sat down to record this video, I go through and I verify because the AI content disclosure on the page for this Steam title doesn't say anything about the game having all of its art replaced or about any of it being placeholders, but I am happy to say it's all placeholders for right now, so we can just like safely ignore it. The developers have dedicated to a number of different threads over on Reddit saying like, oh, it's just there for now. We're going to replace it as we get further on into early access, but for the moment, we just needed to have something in there so that we could release the game because we're like a 2 or 3 person team. I'm okay with that. I actually think that's an optimal use of AI, is just using it as placeholders until you get to something else more workable that gives your game a dedicated aesthetic. And so there it is. I've already disclosed it and talked about it at the beginning of the video. We have assurances from the developer that it's going away. Now that we've named our character and picked a portrait, we've got to decide what we want our history to be. We can be a prospector, we can be a naval officer, or we can be a wreckage explorer. It doesn't really matter which one we pick. It basically determines what skill trees you have open at the beginning of the game, but I'm pretty sure they all open up as you get further on into the title. For right now, though, we're going to go with Navy Officer because I'm interested in active play here today because we're making a video on the game. You can actually automate everything in this game, and it does actually reduce down to like the size of like a mini taskbar so that you can actually like work, or at least pretend like you're working while the game plays itself down below. You can turn on an AI that will effectively go out and mine asteroids for you and then drop off all the material back at base. They'll do the same thing with salvaging so that you're still making progress inside the game with level ups and stuff like that while you're handling your other real life responsibilities, cooking dinner, you know, washing the car, all that kind of stuff. At the beginning of the game, we're going to start out with the Margil. The Margil is a combat cutter, and so this should give us a little bit of oomph so that we can go and fight with the enemy. There are no alternates right now that I think you can pick from. Like, none of this stuff is clickable. I think you get a different ship, though, depending on what your background is, although you may just get the Margil every single time. We're going to call this the NCS Merovingian because that's always the name of all of my spaceships and corporations in games like this, and then we're just going to dive straight on into sandbox mode. So here we are in sandbox mode. We're actually beginning to fly our ship around. We've made it, Captain. Captain, we're receiving a hail. Echo, put it through. Captain Yeoman, you took your time. This channel isn't secure, so come to the rally point. This seems to be our contact profile, Captain. I've marked the rally point on your map. Understood. Thank you, Echo. For right now, the game does not have a whole lot to be spoken of when it comes to sound design. So it does have a soundtrack that plays in the background, and there are very lightweight sound effects for combat and mining and stuff like that. But in general, this video is going to be pretty quiet due to the fact that the game doesn't have any ambient noise. It doesn't really have any thruster sounds or sounds of you going through gates or anything just yet. It's one of those weird things about this title that definitely needs to be rectified. No game ever benefits from not feeling as punchy as it possibly can, but we can hit the M key and it'll give us a map of the system that we're currently inside of. These systems are procedurally generated. Right now we've got Canisec, which is basically Concord and EVE Online. These are law enforcement and they make sure that no pirates or anything else are getting on into the system. We've got the Axiom Outpost, which is Stellar Industries. It looks like they mostly do ship manufacturing. You can build your own stuff in this game, although I don't know how deep it goes. But while I was playing around for an hour, there are manufactories and forges and blueprints and stuff like that that you can accumulate. All of the ore and stuff that you mine or all of the things that you salvage off ships can be reduced down into other materials that can then be used to manufacture your own equipment and whatnot, which I think is really, really cool. It puts a little bit of motivation behind everything. But let's go ahead and jump into the warp real fast. Once again, you're going to want like a sound effect right there, something that's doing like a whoop, 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 and then it just kind of holds that noise while you're flying through the galaxy. Something to make it feel a little tiny bit more immersive. Something's telling me that since the game is leaning on being kind of like an idle game, they didn't think that sound effects would be a good idea so that you don't get ratted out on Slack for right now. But I prefer to play the game actively, and so like I'd like to see that. We've got a number of things that we can loot right here. I'll go through them in just a second once we pop open these canisters. 350 bucks, and then we'll talk to the beacon down here. And Captain, I've been waiting for quite a bit. I got here as fast as I could. Who am I communicating with? Have you made contact with any of the others? No, I haven't seen anybody since before the jump. I got thrown off course and ended up in a closed sector. Should have known it wouldn't go flawlessly. Quite a botched operation already, but we'll still make use of you. I'll contact you once we know more. In the meantime, get acquainted with your surrounding systems, maybe do a job or two. It's quite peaceful around here if you ignore the outlaws. If you need the items in the containers, go ahead and take them. Captain, we can install new hardware at a personal hangar in any space station, and a space station is exactly where we need to go right now. Doesn't really matter which one we go to. I'll probably stay away from the mining station though, because most of their missions are going to focus on mining, and I'm interested in throwing down. I'm trying to put my knuckles across the bow of the enemy. And so let's roll on over here. We'll see if we can get ourselves a couple of missions, get ourselves set up with some activities, maybe earn a little bit of scratch, and see how we can retrofit our ship in order to make it a little bit stronger. So as we pull into port here, there we go. Perfect. All right, so we want to go to the mission board first, and I'm just going to pick up every single mission that's combat focused because our character is combat focused. From there, you also have a skill point at the beginning of the game that you can apply right now. It looks like they've got around 8 or 9 different skill trees to play around with. They're not completed yet. They go out to like tier 3, so like level 10, level 15. I think you can respec. I saw people like referring to it on the forums, and so don't worry too much about where you put your points. For right now, I'm going to take Lone Gun because Lone Gun allows me to get a fat damage boost so long as my ship only has 1 turret. That's obviously something we want to spec out of as we get further on into the game and we start having ships that have a lot more turrets on them, but for now, it's actually the optimal choice because a 30% damage increase by the time we max out this tree is certainly no slouch. That's pretty good. There's a bunch of other quests inside of here where it wants me to collect various things from throughout the sector. We're not really set up for that, so I'm not going to do it, but inside the shipyard, we could actually peruse and figure out what it is that we want to buy later on in the game. They've got a couple of different cutters over here that we could play around with, but I got to be level 3 for that one. And I've got to have like an ungodly amount of just money in order to make it happen. You do have a universal storage in this game. You also have a material storage. It looks like they gave me a 29 damage auto cannon, which is considerably better than the cannon I currently have. So I will install that. You can see what cannon you have installed right there. And then all your other hard points for things like reactors, engines, scanners, they're all going to be down in the bottom left-hand corner, and you can move these around as you see fit. But for the moment, what I'd like to do is throw everything inside my armory right now because we're actually kind of overloaded on stuff. We can also go to the general store and we can drop off all that ore over there for the 500 bucks it'll give us. Maybe so that we can stock up on ammo. Oh, no. I've got the wrong ammo right now. I almost made a mistake. All right, so put that inside the armor. We've got 400 artillery shells right now. I'm gonna need more, though. So if we could pick up, like, another 200, I'd feel a lot safer. And now that we've got our shells all nice and lined up, let's go find some mayhem. And all you really have to do, this game plays really, really easily. We just go back to the map and we tell it exactly where we want to go, just like in EVE Online, and it'll fly us back on over there, and we'll get ourselves involved with our first throwdown. Oh, and right as we land, we've got ourselves an enemy turret over here that's going to be firing a whole bunch of missiles at us. So let's go ahead and see if we can put some autocannon rounds across the bow. It does look like we're doing a decent job at actually damaging him. The AI will handle your evasive maneuvers because, after all, this is trying to be somewhere in between like X4 and an idle game, which I think is kind of an interesting idea, but a lot of things are automated in this game just so you don't have to worry about them, so that you can just like focus on managing. Maybe a good title for people that enjoy auto battle mechanics as well. I need that. Oh, it's empty? Never mind. There's a cargo container inside the sector, and if we can end up with some free loot, I wouldn't be against it. Our health is going to be in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Right now, we don't have any shields or anything, so we're straight up tanking this stuff just to the side of our heads at the moment. There is a little bit of Serax right there. It's not going to sell for very much, but I will grab it, and our cargo hold is now officially full, meaning that if we're going to go back and actually try to take down more pirates, I should more than likely hit the station in between this fight and just kind of unload all that ore so that I can make use of it later. After a little bit of whittling on this guy, he's not a combat ship, so he flatly doesn't have weapons. Like, if you're equipped with like a mining laser, you're basically defenseless in this game. And so right now, we're knocking over a pirate mining operation, and their mining ships aren't really going to shoot back. Occasionally, they get a little tiny bit frosty, and they like try to ram you to do like physical hull damage by running into you. But he didn't try any of that. He saw the damage that was coming down the pipe and decided that he didn't want to play that game with me. Another one bites the dust. And that's our first mission completed, all nice and ready for turn-in. I'm actually going to jettison the ore for right now because I just don't see the point in carrying it around. It's pretty worthless. It's basically the space equivalent of like feldspar. It's not going to be something that's incredibly useful for like either manufacturing, refining, or selling, and that's not our MO anyways. We like to throw down out here in these streets. We got them knuckles that got rough calluses on them. We got that cauliflower ear, but like the space equivalent. I don't know, like that cauliflower hull. We are under fire by two different enemies right now, one utilizing an autocannon, the other utilizing a machine gun. Slight possibility that they're gonna whittle me down, but our hull should hold because these are just like autonomous drones. Yes, you can get these and you can deploy them either out of your cargo hold, or later on ships will allow you to have like a cargo drone modification or like a combat drone modification, I think. Like, I've seen ships that have a drone slot on them, and so I don't know if it's specifically for mining or whatever else, or really it's kind of a multi-purpose drone that you can just aim it at whatever you want to process, but like, I seen it. Ooh, we got a scatter beam right there. A scatter beam that's pretty good. Okay, yeah, it's better than what we've got. And it's got like boosted range. Some of the weapons you find in this game, they do come in different rarities a la Diablo, which does give the game a very, very satisfying... Oh, I shouldn't have done that, dude. Our HP's kind of low. Hopefully this sector isn't chock-a-block with bad guys. Hopefully they don't have tacklers either. Otherwise, this is going to be real ugly. I may instantaneously die just like right at the beginning of our adventure. I'll watch my HP for a second. Hopefully their little machine guns can't cut through my hull as fast as I'm worried they're going to be able to cut through my hull. I would like to get all of this done just in one big clean sweep, but we are reloading our autocannon right now, so like it's going to take us a minute before we can minimize the damage that's floating on in. After we make a little bit of money, combat is going to get a bit more interactive because I'll have different deployables and stuff that I can throw at the enemy, missile launchers, stuff like that to make the combat a little bit more interesting from my experience so far. Like, the combat is the active way to play the game, and then in general, like the salvaging and the mining is something that you set up and fire and forget while you leave the game running just along the bottom of your taskbar. We got a whole kit right there. Is it better than what I've got? It's 30, it's actually identical to what I've got, but we did get a nice little bonus in terms of gear. So let's head back on over to the station at Axiom. We'll offload this stuff. We will enjoy our new full bank account, and we'll see what we can actually parlay in order to make ourselves a little bit more effective at the jobs that we're trying to do. Back at the station. Let's get our managerial tasks done. So your ship does auto repair all by its lonesome. While you're just sitting in here, it'll tell you how long it's gonna take. But if you're actively playing the game, you can go to your personal hangar and you can just pay money, and it'll actually like quadruple the speed at which you're getting repaired, which does make it go a lot faster. Like it cuts down on a 5-minute repair down to like 15 seconds or so. And since you're gonna be looking at general shops and stuff like that, I've never had to sit here and wait for my repairs to finish while I was doing other stuff. For this weapon right here, what kind of, it uses energy? Let's turn in our missions real fast. So we got 3,500 bucks from that and some reputation. We got a Mark 1 shield that's green quality from that one. And we got a plasma fuel cell, which is really, really helpful. These are a disposable consumable that are automatically used whenever you enter a warp lane in order to go to your missions or whatever else. This gets consumed. You can see just the tiny tail at ass end right there, the roach of a meter on that side. It just goes down, and eventually these convert into empty casings that you can either manufacture into other stuff, break down, refine, so on and so forth, or you can just sell them at the shop if that's what you want to do. For the moment, though, I don't know what kind of ammo this uses. It actually looks like it just draws straight from our reactor, I think. So I don't know if we need ammo for it. Like, you can see the autocannon clearly denotes that we need pack rounds, whereas this guy right here, it just says energy damage. And so I am assuming that it's just going to pull on my reactor whenever I'm firing. I don't know. We may be set up for disappointment here when I get on in there. We can't use a shield just yet, so I'm going to sell it for a little bit of extra cash. We're already up to like 20,000 credits at the moment, which is pretty good. A quarter of the way to a new ship. However, what I would like to look for here is I'd like to get some turrets and things that I can deploy in combat just to make us a little bit safer, and also something that'll peel enemies off of us. But it doesn't look like this place is really specialized in combat gear, so let's go up to the cop shop up here and see what we can find there. So at the cop shop, they should have a few more things that are a tad more militaristic, and indeed, we were correct about that. So what we'll want to do now, we've got explosive mines that we can just jettison out and blow them up. Okay. We do need jump gate passes so that we can go to like other sectors and things, but what I want is I want to get myself some deployable missile turrets. They do take up a lot of space, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to pick up quite as much loot when we go into combat, but this will basically double our DPS so that if we take on combat missions, things will be a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and we'll boot as many pirates out of the system as we possibly can. We'll bring in our next round of cash, and so this one's close, so we'll get over here first, and that should make life a little bit easier. We'll kind of hit them in sequence right now. It does look like my scatter beam is firing at the enemy. Yeah, dude. And that thing hits pretty hard, actually, like 20 damage on the scatter. The downside is we have to be point blank with this idiot because it's fired like a broadside. We basically got the space equivalent of like 8-pounders that we're firing at the enemy right now. The bigger they are, the more effective I feel like this weapon's gonna be, but we sawed through that guy's shields right there almost instantly. I think we are gonna need to deploy the missile turret here, though, just to get some extra bang on this guy. And as you can see, he's firing the torpedoes right now. We don't get a damage readout for how much damage they deal, but I do find that they function about as well. Hell yeah, dude. What did you have? Credits canister, plasma fuel cell. I don't care about the Serax. Let's suck that back in. And is anybody else operating inside this belt? These guys over here. We need to pull up on this dude, and we need to go get him. Hey, buddy, where you from? You ready to catch these hands? Because I promise you, they are being thrown. I'm going to throw that down real quick, and let's just focus, actually, get him. Pull in closer, though. If you want to hold position, you don't want the AI to pilot, you can hit this little hold position button down here, and he'll just stay in place while firing. But right now, we're not really agile enough to avoid any of the shots the enemy's firing at us anyways, and so, like, I would like to be close enough that we could just brain this dude. All right, get over there, don't hold the position, move on in. Yup, and just snake him real fast. If we can take him down before he escapes, that's going to be super optimal because these guys tend to drop a decent amount of gear when they go down. Oh, he's going to warp out. All right, well, we've made another sector safe from the pirate menace, and sometimes that's the best you can do with your time. Frankly, we're doing a lot better job at it than law enforcement is. Like, how do you have this many pirate bases up inside your system that all need to be dealt with right this second. Like, aren't you the cops here? Shouldn't you be doing something, man? Like, is there like an overabundance of donut shops? Like, taxpayer money, man. Taxpayer money for safety. Next sector actually looks like it's going to be a pretty clean and easy fight, so we'll just rock up on them close, deploy the missile launcher so that when these guys are out of range, we're at least shooting something else at them. And honestly, they're doing a lot more damage than I expected them to do as we finish them off. Did we earn ourselves a level up, though, thus far? Like, do we have more skill points? Nice, dude. Give me 20% damage when running a singular turret. That sounds good to me. I may have to pick out a gun that has a little bit more precision than this. Like, when we do get a solid broadside off, this weapon is absolutely devastating. However, when we're chasing a guy around like this, it actually loses a lot of efficacy. And so, I don't know. This is why I don't tend to be a fan of shotgun weapons in games like this. What do we just pick up? Money? Money's good. I'll take money. I don't know if there was a canister or what over here, but either way, let's go pick up our turret real fast. Turret, come here, buddy. There you go. Turret's back inside the hold, and we are very nearly dead. And after a little bit of time, I decided just to knock out the rest of the missions kind of off camera until we get some more sophisticated equipment that allow us to do more interesting things. I am kind of interested in like manufacturing stuff, so we may like slap a mining laser on here. We're not actually like built for mining. Our cargo hold is way too small for... Where are you going, bro? What are you doing? You're not going to chase him through the warp, man. He's out of here. He's gone. He's dunzos. But we should have enough money to where we could go to a neighboring sector now, because you've got to get a jump gate pass, and you've got to feed the pass to the jump gate before it'll actually let you go through. You got to give him some of that old omnomage, dude. Get him grubbed out. Now that we're pulling in, we'll go ahead and offload some of this stuff, get our paycheck from all these things. So $4 grand right there, $5 grand for that one, so that's pretty good. Another $5 grand right there. Yeah, we're sitting on like a decent amount of cash for right now. I would like to see a little checkbox next to the repair over here that just makes it so your ship auto pays for repairs whenever you dock up on in. I don't know if that goes against like the fundamental gameplay that they're trying to play around with, but it would be nice. So like, what jump gates exist here? So we've got Zelen, we've got Beacon, we've got Isolated Graveyard, and we've got the Great Gate, which is where we came through. We probably want to go through Zelen, would be my best guess. Yeah, because that goes to a level 11 place, and I don't know if you know this, but we're not level 11. We are barely level 3, and we're kind of hanging on by the skin of our teeth at the moment when it comes to making money. And so let's go to the general shop, and do you have one for Zelen here? Now, it looks like we can just take the gate, so I'm just going to launch through it real fast because, like, I like that effect right there with the particles. It looks good because I just went to all the stations trying to figure out whether or not I needed a gate pass to get through here, and I thought to myself, you know, I could be a lot more efficient by just going to the gate and seeing if it turns on. There we go. Crack that open for the money that's inside of it, and it looks like this area is actually pretty bereft of anything. No asteroid fields and no nothing. Well, then I suggest we just go to, like, Zel 21 and see what we can buy there. If there's not, like, a band in this game, like a heavy metal band whose name is Zelbound, because all of these systems are like Zel this, Zel that. I'm just set an oxide canister. Is that useful? Do I want that? What's an oxide canister do? It looks like it's got highly reactive oxides inside of it, so it's a crafting material. Okay, well, let's just continue trucking on into the galaxy because, like, I'm trying to find some high-level gear. And we got 400 XP just for showing up, which is really nice. And then they want me to interact with another beacon. Where's the bacon at? I don't even know where the bacon's hiding at. Well, as it turns out, they wanted me to go back to the original beacon that was at the beginning of the game, so I guess I can live with that. Captain, there's urgent news. One of your expedition members has been captured by the Luminate Carmine. Find him and get him out. He's carrying critical information that I need. The location of the command cortex. Okay, well, I know enough about sci-fi that anybody that has the word Combine in their name is probably the bad guy. Like, very, very rarely are they the good guy. So we've got to go to Zelen. I'm just going to go ahead and queue that up. Let's go see if we can find this guy real quick. I ran out of warp fuel, so my across-the-realm travel is taking quite a bit longer. Sorry for all the edits and everything. I usually pride myself on having mostly unedited videos, but getting rid of dead space always seems to be prudent now. It's not 2012 anymore, right? We can't just have, like, raw footage out here with all kinds of dead travel time. The station in question falls right before us, so let's see how the storyline evolves from here. Like, what do they got? Probably got to bust somebody's head open, right? That seems to be the combat pilot thing to do. The Luminate Commander Arl. Welcome to Oracle 1A. I'm Arl of the Luminate Combine. We've already encountered 2 others of your kind. Our kind? Disruptors. I don't know how to respond to that. Are they nearby? Can I talk to them? They broke several laws. One of them escaped and the other one's in custody right now, so no, you cannot speak to them. Laws? I mean, I'm sure they weren't that bad. Our group suffered a major jump malfunction. Ending up here wasn't their intention. I might be willing to release him if your reputation with us was a bit higher. That's about all I can offer. May the Oracle find you. And you? Captain, I scanned the system and found a prison outpost, the only one within range. Alright, let's go break him out. Or we could improve our relations with the Combine, and then they'll release him as a favor. Okay, so like, how much questing is it gonna take in order to get myself up to like a higher level of respect with these guys? I would prefer, like, my thought is that if I break somebody out of prison inside their domain, they're probably going to shoot at me every time they see me from now on. And not getting shot at, I feel like that's a really good life focus, is to just focus really heavily on not getting shot at. For the moment, though, I'm not super happy with my combat loadout. I'd like to try one of these lasers or something instead of the scatter beam. The scatter beam, I don't know, dude. It requires, like, a very specific geographical position on the battlefield, and I feel like my autopilot on my ship takes too long to line it up, and so, I don't know. I'm not stoked about holding onto that weapon for right now. We'll try out a different laser weapon and see how that goes for us. So it looks like we get 250 reputation for each combat mission that we run for these guys. That means, so what did we need in order to get this done? 1,500. So, like, we're gonna have to do a solid 6 missions or so before they're gonna let our man go. If we take everything here and we complete it all, that would probably get it done. In addition, we're getting like bonus equipment and stuff while we're doing these missions, possibly off drops or whatever else. So I'm willing to give it a go. We've got enemies all around us right now. I need to get myself another jump set. How do I get one of those ships, dude? That's a freighter right there. There is trading and stuff in this game as well, where you can like run stuff in. But if you enjoy that kind of space trucking gameplay, it seems like that's in there, where you can get different commodities and then like drop them off in different sectors and stuff like that in order to get like a fatter paycheck. Yeah, the laser seems to be doing a pretty good job right now, just absolutely eating that guy's lunch from a very satisfying range too. Looks like it's a channeled weapon. 345 credits right there. Every little bit helps. 28 pack rounds. Probably not gonna need those over the long term, but laser weapons, man. Who knew? Lasers in this game, kind of vicious and terrifying. All right, give me my turret back. We got more missions to knock out. I'm over there. All right, let's go for that one next. Every now and again, when you're jumping in between points too, the game will actually give you distress signals or like anomalies that you've detected that you can go and investigate. Sometimes they're like down ships that you can then mark with a locator beacon to come back and salvage them. Sometimes it's like a pirate ambush. Sometimes it's somebody that needs help. Really just sort of depends on randomness, really. There's no way to tell what an anomalous beacon is going to be when it comes through. You hit that guy for 47? Was that like a crit? Jesus, dude, we're hitting that guy hard. Okay, lasers. Lasers are definitely what we need in this life, and it's good that we're hitting them hard, because, like, these guys are, like, the only guys that actually drop loot. However, the attrition is starting to pile up. Yeah. I mean, they're getting a solid amount of damage off, too, on each burst, and that's just something that we're going to have to live with along the way. Don't get hit by those missiles, by the way. Or, you know, pilot straight into him. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do, AI. I mean, Rokos Basilisk says that I should probably just let you do whatever the hell you want and not worry about it. Laser weapons, for all of their hull damage, actually appear to be really inefficient against armor. So they shred shields pretty fast, and it looks like they shred hull pretty fast. But if the enemy has, like, a nice little layer of armor, that's where you kind of get yourself into trouble. What did he drop? Ah, dense Carax. That's not that useful. I don't want that. All right, give me my turret back. Let's throw it back on board. Oh, dude, I went back to, like, resupply in between missions. I need this Confessor right here. It's even got a cool name, and it's got a dope color scheme, dude. It's all gold and red. Hell yeah, I need a Confessor. That's what I need in my life. Apparently, we need to be, like, on really good terms with this faction, though, before they'll, like, give us their ship designs. So that sort of is what it does. That one have no combat hard points? Oh, it's got drones, and it's got armor, too. Okay. I want to play around with drones, man. That's what I want super bad. So all things considered, the combat missions went by pretty quickly. Like, I was able to knock out all 6 of them probably in about like 5-7 minutes, but I figured, hey, we got a blueprint for a plasma fuel cell. Hell yeah, I'll take that. Building stuff sounds like fun, and we haven't even touched on that yet inside the confines of this video, so that would be a credits canister too. Let me get that. So with that mission done right there, we should be good with the Luminate. Like, I'm gonna turn that in, and that should bring us up to cordial, and hopefully we can get our buddy busted out of prison just based on the fact that they like us more than they hate him, which all things considered isn't an awful position to be in life. Alright, let's pull into the station. This guy's about to steal my parking spot at the mall, isn't he? Okay, no, he has to use the big platform. I do like how the lights come on when a ship is planning on docking inside of one of them. Even though you don't really have to do like an ATC thing in this game, still kind of cool. Let's complete that, and so now we should be good in the airlock. We will release your companion. We've been holding him here. Until next time, Captain, may the Oracle find you. Thanks for getting me released. It's you, Yeoman, right? We haven't properly met, but I've seen your name on the mission manifest. I present to you Captain Yeoman. Thank you, Echo. Good to meet you. How'd you end up here? John Rathor. My ship got a jump malfunction, ended up some systems away. I found another member, Carol. We were making our way back to the rally point, but got intercepted by the Luminate Combine. Carol's ship is carrying the command cortex, so we prioritized his escape. Why would they target you? I don't know. Maybe it was a sacred space for them that we unknowingly entered. Anyways, we should really go after Carol. We could track down his warp trail. Since my ship's a goner, can I join your crew? Definitely. We'll take all the help that we can get out here. Captain, I'll analyze the trail. I'll send you some coordinates. Okay, so that means we probably have to go back to our personal hangar. Did it auto-assign him? It did. He's an industrial expert, and he has skills. So when 3 or more enemies within range, we get 2% damage reduction. That's not really that much, considering most guns seem to hit for like 5. But we can increase our cargo capacity by 30 when he hits level 5, so that's good. And then it looks like every bonus he gives us just makes our cargo hold a little bit beefier, and frankly, that's the #1 weakness that our ship has right now, is just that, unfortunately, we have no cargo space to be bargained with whatsoever. We also got a 31 mining power gun out of there. Are there any actual, like, mines in this system? I mean, there is an asteroid down there. Technically, we could, like, try it out. I don't know if it'll let me equip it because it says I need a mining loadout. Will it do it now? It will. Okay, well, let's go see what we get out of the asteroids. We can't hardly, like, carry anything, but if there's a manufactory in this sector, like, is there, like, a forge or anything else around here? So there's no forge in this system. It looks like we've got halcyonite inside of there. Let's see if halcyonite's any good. Like, does it bring in more money than, like, the Serax or whatever? Because Serax sucks, man. Serax has been very, very disappointing thus far. Hey, we got something out of there. What's it worth? Also, how big is it? It's 10 big. I mean, it's worth $700 a chunk, which isn't the worst thing that I've ever seen out of an asteroid. So, like, we really ought to. Are there any wrecks inside of here either that we could, like, salvage? Let's get it. Oh, there's 7 Seracs inside of there. Okay, don't worry about it too much. Well, like, let's take the ore that we have back to a world that actually has some kind of, like, manufacturing on it. There's Mindus Holdings back in 59, so we can go check on them real fast. Let's maybe go to, yeah, refinery and forge. I want to see what the actual, like, item building process looks like. No telling if we actually have enough ore to make it happen. It may require stacks upon stacks, but let's go process some stuff off. I'm gonna let the autopilot do its thing, and I'll see you when we get there. So it looks like with the 2 that we pulled out for right now, we can convert the halcyonite. It looks like we can convert it into carbon, and we can convert it into iridium. Go ahead and do that, and we'll just kind of see when this gets done. Ah, there's a progress meter over there. So it looks like it takes about 45 seconds per chunk of ore. Okay, does it put that back in the forge or like inside the refinery, or does it go into our materials, or like where does that stuff go? Ah, it just gets added into like a universal bank over on this side of all the stuff that you have available in order to manufacture. Okay, so we need carbons, we need oxides, we need tungstens, we need all kinds of things inside of here. However, it looks like the stuff that we can actually manufacture out carries a decent amount of value. I don't know if we get XP for, like, refining all of these things or for crafting any of these things. I would assume that you would, but I don't know as of right now. And it looks like you actually have a whole bunch of controls inside of here. So I'm like starting to investigate the idle portion of the game, because that's where like mining and salvaging come in, is that I think salvaging actually pulls out manufactured parts from old derelicts and stuff that you find around. I've only found one or two in the hour or so that I've been playing the game. I also don't know if, like, let's say that I destroy an enemy, do I get to salvage their actual hull after they go down? Because I'd be more than willing to rock out with, like, I don't know, dude, keep like a salvage laser on me and also like a combat laser on me once I've got access to two different hard points, and then just kind of have them double dip on resources. Like, you get the drops off the enemy, but then you also get to get the extra salvage material, because salvaging battlefields is a lot of fun in EVE Online. But it looks like right now these are all the settings that you have at the moment for like how much ammo supply it'll buy, like whether or not it'll like prioritize missions when you're idle, whether or not it can like travel in certain directions, and then over here it gives you like a printout of everything it did while you were offline, which I think is kind of a cool idea. Like, you can leave the game running while you're playing a different game if you hit one of those stop gaps where you don't want to handle all the mining and everything yourself. Like, you can be like, autopilot, go do that for me. I'm gonna go play Skyrim for a little bit. You know, that's a cool like side option. Oh, we got an anomaly. What is it? Is it something good? Ooh, it's a destroyed ship. Okay, so we've got like a destroyed mining ship over here. And what you can do is you can jettison this beacon right here, and for 30 minutes you can come back to this point after you reload out. I was hoping we would run into something like this, because I can go grab a salvager real fast and we can just kind of like see how this plays. Alright, well, I got my salvage cutter equipped, so let's go back over there and see what we can pull out of this thing. There's also a mission right here. You look like you fired a few guns in your time. You want some friendly competition? Am I being roped into a scheme? Oranon Security is keeping leaderboards for pirate eliminations. Sign up and you might even win a prize. I'll think about it. Okay. You know, we could put some hot laser death on some pirates. Basically what I've been doing anyways. If I can move on up to like the professional level, that'd be cool. Oh yeah, it looks like you refund your skill points for not that much money. Ooh, they got an even better salvage cutter right there. I've been looking for like that green quality gear inside of here to make my ship more efficient, but like what these guys carry sort of depends. I could definitely use some plasma fuel cells so that we can get around a little faster. I'll definitely buy all three of those, because I have noticed a difference in the speed that I get around the galaxy just based on whether or not I have plasma cells and stuff equipped. The difference is actually fairly shocking. Like, your average jump takes around 3 seconds if you have plasma fuel. If you don't have plasma fuel, it goes up to like 40, 45 seconds. All right, so let me see if we can... Let's see if we can get the cut rate mining laser and extract it. It said we only had like a 40% chance, but I figure we might as well go for it. Like, it's on here and XP is XP. And, oh, I like how little pieces of the ship come off as you're shooting it. That's pretty sick too. I've always liked battle damage in video games where your character actually looks like they got beat up, or it looks like your ship got torn up in the last fight and you gotta go get it repaired and buff out all that Grand Theft Auto damage. Oh, you can crit while salvaging too. Extraction failed. We got something right there, a silicon fragment. Okay, I'll take a silicon fragment. I don't know if it's good or not, but get me everything you possibly can. So just about through the outer hull right now. Like, the ship hasn't been broken down on like a structural level. I don't know if we're going to have the equipment to get that done once we get back in here, but we were able to actually grab off all the scrap that was on the edges of the ship, and it looks like we need a structural salvaging loadout, so there's going to be like a separate turret that gets the stuff underneath. But our ultimate yield was 7 silicon and 6 tungsten, which I am lacking from all my manufacturing. And so, oh, you can actually refresh the battery on the locator beacon. Well, that's nice. I'm gonna grab this other one over here, though, because it doesn't look like I can recollect it. Like, it doesn't look like I can pull it back on in and just keep using the exact same salvage buoy the entire time. Was the forge back over here? This place has a forge, so we'll go ahead and try and like refine this stuff off and see if we actually have enough equitable material to actually do what we want to do. Otherwise, we may be kind of stuck just looking for... It's going to take 2 minutes to get that done. So the result is 7 silicon and 6 tungsten. Well, this stuff doesn't sell for jack, and so like, I feel like it's not a bad idea. Go ahead and just like start automatically refining everything. Ooh, this lady in the bar, while I was waiting for everything else to salvage on out, you can talk to people in the bar, and they have a bunch of different offers. Like, one guy offered me for $40,000. It was like a promissory note for a future spaceship that's not being produced right now, but it's in the final stages of like government regulation. It's about to go into production. And so you just got to kind of like gamble on whether or not you're getting more value out of the ship that you're going to get someday than you actually gave the salesman. There's people that have mining claims inside of here that have like all kinds of better loot than we can get from like the normal asteroids. I think I will take the actual salvage contract. Do I just right click on it? Q489 has been activated. All right, well, I mean, we salvaged everything off, so like, is it inside this sector? It is inside this sector. However, there is a hazard called heat over here, and I don't have, there's like a mod slot on your ship that allows you to put various equipment inside of it, and I have noticed that some of them are like hazardous environment protection mods and things of that nature. We may not be able to hang in for this entire salvage operation just due to the fact that it's hot and spicy over here. They got a little bit of that Cholula action going on. Let's see if maybe we can salvage the laser turret. Oh, wow, there's like 2 big ships over here. So, like, does the progression of the game actually go up to ships that big? From what I was actually looking around on the forums at, it looks like frigates are like the biggest you can get right now, or corvettes or something. But if it goes all the way up to Titans and things of that nature that you can play around with, sheesh, sign me up, sign me up. Come on, laser turret, do I get you? Hey, extraction was successful. Hell yeah, dude, we got like a rare laser turret. Is it better than the one that I have? Oh, it's way better. That's a super good laser by comparison to the one that I had, and it's got a range bonus on it, which for a lock-on sort of, they function like phasers in this from Star Trek, where they lock on and then they just hold a beam trying to punch a hole in your shields effectively. And so, like, yeah, dude, that's a nice little come up. Like, I can't look inside my armory right now to compare, but 38 combat power is the highest that I've ever seen. And I love the little details that, like, each of these turrets is made by a different corporation. That should definitely factor into that gameplay. It gives it sort of this Borderlands style feeling where different manufacturers create weapons that are functionally the same, but like the additive bonuses and the ways in which they achieve that efficiency of their maximum DPS are different. Like, I've always been kind of like a Vladov guy, you know? Like, every single time I play a Borderlands game, I focus on the Vladov stuff, but other people have their own preferences, and I think that's a really cool thing about Borderlands. And so if they could make the actual corporate design of these weapons meaningful in a lore-building, sort of universe-building way, I'd be down for it. But for now, this right here is Vanguard Galaxy. I have to say, I like the novelty of what they're playing around with right now. At the moment, it feels kind of bare bones, and it feels like a little bit lacking in interaction. That more than likely comes from the fact, like, the developers have a very hard path to walk right now. They've got to have enough interaction that it keeps active players like me that'll almost never use the autopilot entertained, and give us enough meaningful decisions and experiences to keep us actually playing the title. But at the same time, they can't go too far in that direction, otherwise the automation becomes like way too complex, and then nobody wants to engage with that half of the game. And just me being me and my desire for anything novel inside the world of indie games, I like the idea that somebody's trying to make an idle RPG that's something like EVE Online, where there's different career paths and stuff that you can work on, but at the same time, if you can't stare at the screen right this second, you can just minimize the game down to your taskbar and it will play itself while you handle your responsibilities, and then you can come back to like a nice little bonus and some extra XP and whatnot after you get whatever it is done that you're trying to do. I think the biggest areas of improvement for this title right now are just the soundscape. The soundscape for this game is not bad, it's non-existent, which is worse. I definitely think all these lasers and all these operations like salvaging and busting up rocks, I do think that the combat sounds could be punched up a lot. Right now with the default music mastering, they've got the music cranked up to max to make the game sound a little bit less empty. I reduced it all the way down to just listen for what sound effects exist, and I think the sound effects are kind of in progress at the moment, because certain things definitely have sound effects attached to them, but none of them are punchy or loud enough or in your face enough to actually make the game feel gritty and make it actually feel visceral while you're flying around dogfighting with other enemies. But this will be a title that I am going to keep an eye on for sure, because I've always wished that there was EVE Offline, and unfortunately Astrox Imperium, the developer, worked on it for like 7 years. He released a patch a month for 7 years, disappeared for a year or so, and came back and was like, yeah, after looking at the scope and scale of this project, I've spent a big chunk of my life on something that's potentially never going to get done, and I got to go get a job because it's not selling. And, you know, Astrox Imperium is no longer being made, and so I'm hoping that this game can slide right on into that niche. There's a bunch of other stuff that I've noticed while playing around with the game. For example, some of the space stations are made up of individual station parts that you can target, things like connectors and conduits and stuff like that, that sort of implies that later on down the line we're going to be making our own stations like X4 or X3 style that can then engage in trade. That's another activity that blends itself really, really well into the idle style of gameplay that they're fooling around with right now. And so this is definitely a title that I think in a year or so I'll probably check back in on it. Right now, it's not quite textured enough for me to dump 100 hours into it, but it was engaging enough and unique enough that I will be checking my Steam updates. I have a little news section that I have customized for all the games that I'm thinking about covering or recovering or whatever else, and I will eagerly look towards updates to see the direction and the ultimate focus that this game gleans over time. But I think the core foundation they have right here, right now, is very, very interesting stuff. And so anyways, as a space sim fan, yeah, dude, I'm down for this adventure. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, it was Vanguard Galaxy. Tomorrow to be something else. Thanks for hanging out with me. That's all I got for you, folks. Bye.